It's a pleasure having you this afternoon to another edition of Real Estate Today webinar series. This series is brought to you by Ubosi Ele and Company, and it's a way of contribution. It's a way of contributing to the issues that relates to real estate in Nigeria and beyond here. So whether you're joining us from here or from international space, we want to welcome you. It's either good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever it is that you are listening or watching us from. We're also live on YouTube. You can click in and join us. I would like to encourage you to tell your friends, to tell other friends to quickly join us. We're just about starting. You've not lost or you've not lose any part of the program. So just tell your friends, let them join in, grab a cup of coffee if you can, and let us do this together. So today we are going to be talking or discussing on a topic. Before I begin to bring in, before I talk about the topic and also the speaker, I want to let you know that there will be privilege and opportunity for you to ask your question directly. This webinar is recorded. So at the end of this webinar, you can actually get the recording of this webinar. So if you also want to ask questions, you can use the chat box to ask your question. And if you want to ask our speaker and our guest direct question, you'll be given the privilege to do so by raising up your hand, and I get to promote you to one of the panelists so you can ask your question and they can answer you directly. So please, again, tell your friends to tell others and let them join in immediately as we're about starting. Today, the topic before us is commercial retail properties in Nigeria. Commercial retail properties in Nigeria, market trends, rental dynamics, tenant strategy, and investment opportunity. What a great topic. I call it again, commercial retail properties in Nigeria, market trends, rental dynamics, tenant strategies, and investment opportunity. And honestly, today's discussion focuses on commercial retail properties in Nigeria, a sector that continues to evolve in response to changing consumer behavior, economic realities, urban growth, technological advancement, and investors' expectations. While retail real estate has faced significant shift over the last decade, it remains one of the most important asset class within Nigerian property market. So you can see why this topic to us is very, very significant at this particular point in time. And there is no other person to do this topic with us. The guest himself, I'm going to just read a short citation about him. He's a man that wears many caps. And we are privileged to have with us an accomplished industry leader, ESV Olurogba Orimolade, who will be sharing insight with us regarding this topic. But let me just say a few things about him. Just a very short citation. If we're going to talk about him, there's a lot to be said. ESV Olurogba Orimolade is a leading commercial retail property strategist with over 2 decades of experience in Nigerian real estate sector. He is the principal partner of Rogba Orimolade and Company, a firm specializing in commercial real estate advisory, investment, and development. He is a fellow of both the Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors, that's RICS, and the Nigerian Institution of Estate Surveyors and Valuers. He is widely recognized for his expertise in retail, office and investment property markets. He is also the founder of the Center for Commercial Property Studies, Nigeria's first institution dedicated to commercial property research, training, and advisory services. Mr. Orimolade is a respected thought leader on retail real estate, tenant strategy, shopping mall investment, and he has previously served as the 25th chairman of the Nigerian Institution of Estate Surveyors and Valuers, Lagos State Branch. Also, I need to also mention that he is MNI, member of the National Institute. And we all know that this is a prestigious title awarded exclusively to individuals who successfully complete the senior executive course at the National Institute of Policy and Strategic Studies, NIPSS, Kuru. That's in Plateau in Jos. It's an honor to have you, ESV Olurogba Orimolade. You're welcome, sir. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Sanjo, and it's a pleasure to be here. And let me first of all just congratulate Ubosi Ele. Congrats. You guys are doing a great job, and keep the flag flying.
Thank you very much, sir. Yeah, thank you. So over to you. You can go ahead. I mean, your
Okay.
presentation.
Okay, yes. Before I ask for my slides, let me just start by this. And Sanjoy, is good there's one line you said when you started. You talked about how important this asset class is. Well, what a lot of people don't know is the importance to the economy. And let me just quickly say this, give this example. One of the trying periods of not just our country, in the world, was during the COVID epidemic. Are you hearing me?
Oh, yes, you are very audible, sir.
Yes.
Very audible, sir. Yes.
Yeah, during the COVID epidemic. And during that period, a lot of us, if not everybody, was at home. Very few people were going to work. There was very little work going on. But at that period, it was retail. In particular, let me just be more specific, food and drink. I remember at that time, there was a restaurant, popular restaurant chain that was on our case during that period when most people, even a lot of retailers and offices were shut. These guys contacted us. We opened an outlet during that period. Now, that outlet on its own employs nothing less than about 81 people. I'm talking of formal and informal workers. That outlet, it's a whole value chain created, because when you open an outlet, you are renting a property. When you rent a property, you are insuring the property. When you insure the property, people just don't eat on the floor. You're going to, get carpenters to be involved. You create tables. You create, employment. The people that are even bringing produce, logistics is involved. The farms are involved. So that's how powerful and that's how important retail is. I felt, let me start with that. And that is how, as I said, that's how powerful and significant retail is. So, yes, thank you for putting up my slides. And just want to greet everybody that is listening to me. I believe I'm audible enough. So today, yes, as Mr. Sanjo said, we're talking about commercial retail properties in Nigeria, market trend, rental dynamics, tenant strategy, and investments. So let's move on. Can we move on to the next slide? All right. I won't bore you. I won't bore you with this. I think Sanjo had already mentioned about the Center for Commercial Property Studies. That's the first of its kind center created in sub-Saharan Africa. Was basically to promote and to educate the populace in terms of commercial property. And when I talk of commercial property now, we're talking about office, we're talking about retail, and also some levels of industrial. But that's the platform in which this is being presented. Can we go to the next slide? All right. Now, the next slide clearly shows, I felt it's important to give a good overview in terms of the Nigerian retail market, the size, to be able to emphasize of how strategic and how huge the market is. And you can see from my charts here, as at 2024, the market is not even about projected, we're 2026. The market was rated to be, in the size of about $29.2 billion. And all key research, research outlets have put the growth rate year in, year out at 4.5%. It's actually the fastest in West Africa. So that's a statistic that we just can't ignore. That should show you how big, how big it is. Then, of course, we have our population, 220. The census is about to start very soon. I'm sure it's going to be more than this. But what is interesting about is the fact that from our research, 52% of it is urban. And that for us tells a lot, especially when we talk about formal retail property. All right. And of course, let's go back. Let's maintain here. Yes, I felt this is important to show, although it was stressed here about the Ikeja City Mall alone. We just want to just emphasize that just from just Ikeja City Mall, which is a formal, retail facility, You can imagine how much footfall they are generating, talk less of the other facilities, the other malls, the other plazas all over the place. But let me just correct something. The footfall officially roughly about 10 million Ikeja City Mall. Yes, that was a right figure. That was about, say, 2 years ago, thereabouts. Now the footfall has reduced a little bit. So it's right now ranging on monthly around 500, 400, 500. December, I think it went up to about 800,000 last December. I felt I should share that. Can we have the next slide? Can we have the next slide, please? Okay, thank you. All right. So this gives us, in terms of trends, so let's talk about the trends. I've talked about rapid urbanization. I felt this is very, very important. You know, we're getting more and more people coming into the cities, especially, of course, the hotbed areas, Lagos, Abuja, and Port Harcourt. Something else I think we should note is the infrastructure-led growth. Um, what if you're in Lagos, if you're in Kaduna, or even in Calabar, you cannot miss out the infrastructure developments going on. The Lagos Calabar Highway and the Abuja Kaduna Highway is also something that should not be we should all note. 1 minute, please. Just 1 minute. Are you all hearing me?
Absolutely, sir. You are very audible, sir.
All right. So I felt the infrastructure cannot be neglected. The Lagos Calabar Highway is already bringing up lots of opportunities. Last week, I think, yes, it was last week. For those that know Lagos very well, Victoria Island, I drove from Amadu Bello, um, around where you have Eco Atlantic, and I was heading towards where you have Novari Mall, which is a Shango Tedo area, for those that know those areas very well. It took me less than 30 minutes to get there. And as I was on that road, I was just looking at the opportunities all around. You know, there's nothing like when you have top infrastructure, it opens up every area. So that's something that I think we should all try to look out for. Also, I feel we should, something that I hope people are paying attention to. That's the omni-channel evolution. Let me explain. Let's forget the headlines. Um, Real estate now, retail in particular, in all parts, in every local government, in almost a majority of the streets now, a lot of people are looking for where they can play in terms of logistics, like hubs, places where they can maybe drop a parcel, be able to use it, instead of even, taking up a whole building. Yeah, having a lot of that coming up now. There are also a lot of not just more promoters, but a lot of companies now that are coming up with a lot of loyalty programs that are attached to a lot of the retail centers. A lot is coming up, a lot of what is happening abroad. These things are quite common right now in South Africa and America, but it's a lot coming on here. Let me say this: there's actually a one of a kind strip mall, or should I call it this? Yeah, a strip boulevard arcade that is coming up somewhere around. Let me just say the Lekki axis, which they're even taking up and creating this. They're establishing a post office there. Yeah, yeah, post office. I'm sure some people are listening to and wondering that year 2026. Yeah, but guess what? It's where do you think the Amazons and the others are going to, send their packages to? Instead of taking up a place, they make use of the various malls, settings, even estates. Once you can set up a structure that can receive those things, yeah, it's business. So those things are evolving. We're seeing more and more of that happening now. Institutional capital influx, yes, this is a bit stale. It was about 2024 regarding Ikeja City Mall, the acquisition by IPROP that took place. What I didn't emphasize in this flyer is when we talk of institutional capital influx, yes, externally, but we also have something building up locally. There are institutions that are now building and are investing heavily into retail here. All right. So I felt I should, but a lot of attraction is coming up now to the Nigerian market. And we're seeing that now. There are lots of inquiries regarding that. People want to now invest. The yield seems to be very attractive. Two two strategic assets, which I think if you have not heard, then well, this is a good opportunity to inform you. I'm sure you've Maryland Mall on Ikorodu Road has been in the news for some months. But what a lot of people haven't heard is that there is actually a focus in the acquisition on Maryland Mall. When you think that, oh, maybe the high grade A malls will not be that interested, but people won't be that interested. But we have a lot of people now, especially local institutional players that are interested in buying it. In terms of the current status of it now, whether it's been bought, whether there are new owners now, it's something that we are yet to clarify. But I'm sure in time we'll get more information on that. Festival Mall is one that I can say here that has been acquired. It was owned by UPDC. It was actually at the time part of their REITs. Who has acquired it? I almost sought legal advice. Well, I would say I sought legal advice before I put this up, not to disclose the entity that we are aware bought it, because for one reason or the other, there hasn't been an official statement to that effect. So we feel it's safe to just leave it there as it is. But the Festival Mall, from all our information and our sources, have been acquired. And that tells you, and it was just acquired just some few months ago by a local player, not even an international player that is big in the retail space. So those are trends that that are going on and things that we should watch out for. Can we have the next slide, please? Can we have the next slide? All right. This just to give you a full grip of just the rental rates as it is. Yes, Nigerian law, I think clearly states that you're not expected to do business here and collecting monies in dollars. All right. So let me just put a disclaimer here. What we're trying to show is the benchmark dollar rates that's being used. You can see the Palms, the Ikeja City Mall, Novari, the Purple Lekki, Circle Mall, Maryland Mall. These are in Lagos, at least. I will have added Jabi here. There are one or two other in other parts of the country that fall in this grade, but I felt we should focus more on Lagos. At least we relate a lot to a lot of these malls are quite popular. But these are the rental rates that they are still commanding. And yes, there's still a lot of demand for it. Very few vacancies that you can get. I don't even know whether you even have any vacancy in a lot of this, but it's still trending. That tells you the market and the state of the market as of today. Can we have the other slide, please? Can we move on? All right. All right. This slide now shows you the rental trends in Lagos, and also we also put up Abuja. Victoria Island, apart from the benchmarked dollar malls, rental rates are actually commanding as high as over 300, 350. Now, there are properties that are not that modern, they are not that new. There are quite a number of them in some of the streets of Sanusi Fafunwa, one or two of those other streets around Oyinjolaimi and the Rikes. A lot of those properties that are retail are old properties. Those ones are still commanding slightly lower than 350, I must say. But a lot of the newer developments, which are not many in VI, they're actually commanding up to this, apart from the grade A properties. In Lekki Phase 1, the newer properties now are commanding 250. Generally, you're getting about 200, 250. And when I say 200, 250, I'm talking of per meter, per square meter per annum. That's the rental rate. Yeah, so that's the range. For Aja Shangotedo, yes, you're getting there about 180, 150, 180. Again, this is excluding the grade A, like the Novaris. And Novari will still commanding more than this. So this is just trying to capture all other asset classes in retail that is beyond the grade A dollar benchmarked malls. Ikeja is quite interesting. Ikeja, you still have majority. Let's leave GRA Ikeja. Majority of the retail assets still commanding about 100, between 100 and 150. But between 150 to 160, you are seeing GRE Ikeja commanding up to that now. But majority of the assets around, you can still get between 100 and 150. And it depends on how new the development is. Abuja is hit up to about, Wuse in particular, Wuse 2 is a hotbed of retail. Is hitting right now close to about 200, 180, 200. You can see on the right side, we'll be able to do some analysis in terms of vacancy levels and demand. VI, there is a huge demand for retail in VI, but again, very few supply. So that must, I hope somebody is listening to me here, even though the land is very expensive. Very hard to get vacancies in VI, but the markets, there's a demand there. Okay. There's still a bit more openness in the Ikeja Yaba markets. It all depends on the kind of quality of retail development you're looking for. Then Abuja, you have it between 5 to 10%. But there's a very strong demand in Abuja, especially within the Wuse area and Maitama. Can we move on to the next slide, please? All right. This is the part that it becomes interesting. Now, a lot has happened and is happening within this space. And let me start from 2015. I like to play around that 2015, 2013, when majority of the grade A's, the Palms, Ikeja City Mall, you just saw a huge revolution of a lot of these asset classes when they came in. What you had was anchor tenant was a key, typical ShopRite game, cinemas. At a point, those three categories, once you have it, all the other people are fighting with the remaining spaces. But times have changed. And we felt it's important to be able to bring out what the trend is now. And this will guide not just those that are going into retail development, it will also guide investors that are investing in this space, whether you're a retailer or you're even a consultant. We are seeing a situation now where three key categories are driving majority of, or taking up majority of the spaces in a lot of the, not just grade A malls now, but even the plazas. Entertainment, food and drink, which is food and beverage, and fitness. They are taking a huge percentage now, close to, I think, 43% right now. They're even shrinking the percentage that usually is left for the anchor tenants. And it's not far-fetched. We've known the story of ShopRite, even though, yes, there are other supermarkets that are still here. But more and more, it's all about driving traffic. What drives traffic to the retail centers? And, food and drink now is really becoming a big thing right now. And there are a lot of innovations coming up around that space, the lounges, and also fitness. I don't want to give free adverts under Obosele and Co.'s platform to one of the popular, um, should I call them gym that are into gym and wellness, but you can see them everywhere. They're everywhere. Okay. So there's a huge number. This bringing in traffic now. So most people that are picking up plazas, they're actually ensuring that those gyms and wellness are taken up there. So this is what we found out on the ground. They've actually taken and they're taking a lot of space. And it's really filling the gap by a lot of the anchor tenants. Cinema, for a while, cinema has been struggling. So has a bit of the groceries. But now that we're having fitness has come to stay, entertainment, a lot of games, not just arcade games, people are now being very creative around this bit, fashion is still there, but we are getting more of food and drink, entertainment and fitness, which is a plus, and it's changing the whole whole mindset in terms of how people are looking at retail property now. But this is quite exciting. This just shows you what's happening now and also going to the future. Can we move on to the next slide, please? All right. This just explains, we try to put some, those data out there to just tell you using 2015 to 2025, where we are now in terms of the growth from 17% to 43% when it comes to three of these categories. Entertainment, we've captured them as cinemas, gaming, escape room, kids zones. Okay. Cinemas are still there. The only difference now with cinemas now is, unlike a lot of the cinema players just coming and renting a space, the owners of a lot of these malls or plazas now recognize that why just to guarantee the cinema to be there, they capture a space, they bring the funding to do up the space for the cinema, and they just pay them for their name for them to operate the cinema. We've consulted for one or two companies that have done that, and that has really helped their footfall. So we are having that. So cinema in a way is coming back, you know. Yeah. So that's that category. As you can see, under food and beverage, food halls, cafes, eat, play, and it's really the driving force. Get it now to be the key driving force now to a lot of plazas. Maybe not the malls. The malls still have a good blend. But a lot of the plazas, the 2 floors, the 3 floors that are spread in a lot of the communities now, food and drink, pharmacy, it seems to be what is driving it right now. Under fitness, as you can see, gym, yoga studios, yes, yoga. There are 1 or 2 places that it's attracting a lot in Victoria Island, I must say. So that brings daily traffic. That's so that's a trend we should watch out for. Then, of course, mixed experience. We have co-working. Co-working never left, but it's becoming more and more trendy. Pop-ups. Gone are the days when you have spaces, or you call them dead areas now. There's no dead area. Everywhere now is what's something, putting some creativity there, painting the backdrop, just make sure that it's photo friendly. You'll be shocked. This category of Gen Zs, that's where they all go. Once they go there, they trend it on social media. You already have traffic, and good traffic, that is. So this slide for us just gives you a general, I believe, a good overview of how we have evolved from 2015. As I said, I tactically used 2015, or slightly before that, when a lot of the grade A malls came in, and now. So this is where we are at the moment. Can we move on to the next slide, please? All right. I singled out these 3 malls because as until today, they still stand out. The jury is out there for ShopRite. And why do I say the jury? When you still go to a lot of these centers, you still see ShopRite sign there, even though they are not open. So I'm not going to comment much about that, but we just felt we should still maintain it as such. But you can see the cap rates and all that is still generating. They are the ones that are the pace setters, and they are still the pace setters. So I felt it's important to show, these 3 major asset classes are still determining things, especially when it comes to grade A. Can we go to the next slide, please? All right. So, yeah. Now, well, let's talk about investors and why this asset class is interesting. Right now, as I said, we are having a lot of influx, a lot of interest from foreigners. Foreign international players are showing keen interest, and it's not far-fetched. The South African market has been saturated when it comes to retail property for a while. The yields are still by far more than yields that you're generating in South Africa. Now, there are certain industry experts that say that the yields you are generating is double South Africa. So people will put South African yields to about 5%. I'm not going to go into that argument. But from our research, it's not as wide as that. That's what we're getting from our research. But Nigeria still has a edge. The market is still generating a bit more yield. And this is key for investors. That's the bottom line for investors coming in. Let me also say this. There is huge, all of a sudden, there's an upside when it comes to local institutional players. They've stepped up. And thank God for not just our banks, but even the fintechs, the money, what do you call them? The money points, OPs of this world have actually helped a lot of them now are extremely liquid and they're actually competing and acquiring a lot of these asset classes and taking positions locally. I gave a good example about Festival Mall, all right? And also from our information and from the calls we are getting, there is a huge demand, not just international, but also local. Opportunities, value add repositioning. There are aging plazas on Lagos Island. I'm stressing Lagos Island in particular. You know, there's a lot of urban renewal that needs to be done. But why can't the urban renewal start from that plaza that is run down? You know, I feel that opportunity is there. Whether it's grade A, whether it's grade B plus, the opportunity is there, the market is there. GRA, Keja, yes, not so much retail around there, but there are some developments that were developed that had an old shape. So this is also an opportunity for those people that are behind those developments or those people that see it as an opportunity to also come in and see what they can do with those kind of developments. We'll say too, as I said before, it's a no-brainer on that. Secondary city entry, yes. We were in what do you call it? Which we were in Umahia, Abia State some months ago. And I saw the great things that Governor Alex Otti was doing. I've also been privileged to go to Owerri, and other parts. Akwa Ibom is one. People are not watching that state. Governor is doing wonders. Why am I stressing it? There is no retail. Retail, you can play retail everywhere. Where you think that your yield might generate you more, think about the cost of the asset, the cost of the land. So it's all about balancing it at the end of the day. So these areas are areas and states that have, for me, good opportunity. Their markets might not be as what's the word? As in terms of purchasing power, might not be as high, but people have to eat, people have to go out, people have to watch films, people have to go to the grocery supermarket. It doesn't need to be a grade A development. Doesn't need to. So I think that people should look beyond Lagos, Ogun State, and Abuja. There are lots of opportunities, especially with the roads and infrastructure coming up. Let me also say this as we're talking about the investor opportunity. When we talk of retail, the mindset I hear a lot of people look at is rent, rent. The biggest opportunity, as far as I'm concerned, is creating plazas to sell shops. It is by far cheaper. It has been proven. A wing of duplex that you're developing, within a wing of duplex, you can actually create an equivalent of 4 shops, 30 square meters. Each of them in areas in Lekki, you can generate about 5.6, 5.5 to 6 million per annum, so you can spread your risk. So that's something I think I should throw out here. When you're talking of retail, just don't be fixated about retail in terms of letting. Also look at the opportunity in building shops and selling shops off plan and creating a tenant mix that can be seen as a real mall and you sell those shops. It's very lucrative. Yes, we just talked. I think I emphasized on the right here in terms of the yields and all that. I think I've spoken about that. Can we move on to the next slide, please? Or should I say the final slide? All right. So here just talked about, just emphasizing about the grade A, this really is just to stress the fact that there's still keen interest here by foreign players. And it's for a lot of us that are in Nigeria to think inwards. There's a lot happening in the retail space, a lot happening. And we've already done in terms of how huge the market is. So there's a lot to play in. That's just been emphasized. Infrastructure deficits, I think we mentioned that before. Power, roads, and waste management remains a challenge. It's a big challenge, but even that challenge has also opportunity. You're going to have, budgets for generators, boreholes, and private security as operational cost. These are the realities that we face every day. Purchasing power erosion, that's the fact. Rising inflation squeezes consumer spending. All right, that's a fact. We cannot shy away from that. Okay, oversupply, yes. In terms of Victoria Island and Ikoyi, as I said before, there is, there are pressures there. There are pressures there. So Lekki One has benefited from what Victoria Island and Ikoyi lacks. But it would be good places like other estates or islands that have been brought close to Eco Atlantic. It would be good if we see more retail come up. There's space for that. Then we also mentioned the issue of regulatory and those title risks, which anybody going into this should be able to watch out for. We cannot stress it, especially the planning codes, very important. We've gotten calls from people that just tell us, oh, they want to open a shopping complex anywhere in Lekki. There's nothing like anywhere in Lekki. We are fortunate, yes, to be able to advise them on where they can. But I don't think so many people have that opportunity to reach us or reach people that are a bit knowledgeable in this. So I would just appeal the people to please reach out to the right experts for clarity in terms of wherever they can invest in these areas. Next slide. I think we're through. Okay, sorry. All right. So in terms of opportunities and just looking at the market, yes, just retail real estate market is on track. We've done that. By 2030 is going to be 40 billion US. And of course, it's driven by urbanization and in the investment infrastructure investment. Okay, grade A malls, rentals, yes, between 30 to $100. And yeah, we also talked about the other areas that people should look at, different states, so you can get the first mover advantage. We also stressed the fact that there's a changing trend right now, and you now have groceries, not alone, fashion, food and beverage and entertainment are really taking up a lot of the spaces now. That's the trend. That's really the trend now in most retail centers now. Retail cap rates, we talked about it, is between 8 to 12%, which is quite good and slightly higher than South Africa. South Africa is always used as the benchmark, and this for us is a clear indication of why there is some pressure as we've given to even some grade A asset classes or people that are even coming to take position here. Then, of course, as I said, active market interest based on the transactions that I've highlighted. That should tell anyone that cares to listen that the retail industry is here to stay. We are just starting, actually. So that's that. So thank you for following me this far. I hope, Sanjo, I hope I wasn't so fast.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Okay. All right.
Right. So thank you so very much. That was I mean, looking at those, I was just looking at really now those data, explaining those. Thank you so very much. That was a very huge one in terms of market analysis, in terms of trend, in terms of expectations, in terms of what investors should be looking at. Thank you so very much once again. Yes, Olurogba Urimolade. Thank you. That was very, very instructive and a very good one. I had my notes here and quite a few talking points. Before I go to my talking points, again, for those of you, I know a few questions are already coming up. If you still have questions, don't hesitate to put those questions on the chat box. I'm going to come back to them, and yes, the Ulurogba will do us well to answer those questions. And for those of you who want to ask him direct question, you want to speak, please do that by showing of your hand. I'm going to get to one of my team members to put you up so that you can ask him direct question. I know there are a few questions already, and so just raise up your hand using the tools on the WhatsApp on the webinar platform, and we're going to go to that. Thank you once again. So let's go to a few talking points based on why you reeled out about those trends and all that. I want to start by asking, because when you started, you talked about infrastructure and all that. So the first question I would like to ask in this dimension is to get your opinion, or what do you think, as much as you did mention them anyway, but let's see you rank them. Now, what factors or which factors currently would you say in terms of influence on retail rental values? What factors? You talked about location, you talked about infrastructure and all the likes. But if you're going to pin them down and to really, really go into them specifically, Can you tell us the drivers, what will you consider the biggest drivers of these rental premiums in retail properties right now? The biggest drivers of all of those factors that you have listed.
Biggest factors. Sanjo, you are putting everything together. I want my head to. Okay. I will stress infrastructure.
Mm.
Infrastructure. And let me give you just a bit of an example. I operate my office in Lekki Phase 1. Lekki Phase 1 is already a hotbed for retail. Everybody knows. Almost every house has been converted, in a lot of the houses, to retail.
Mm.
If you live in Lekki Phase 1, for instance, and you live there and you have an office there, trust me when I say this, you'll be too lazy to go any other place because everything is there. All the retail, everything is there. You want to watch a film, you want to eat, everything is there. You want to wash clothes, everything is there. However, here came the Lekki, the Calabar Road. If I'm leaving my office, all right, and I don't want to I'm talking now, I'm sorry, because I believe this has been, people from other parts of Lagos might be listening to this. So, but I have to use somewhere, for example. I won't mention specific names, but I did mention one. I will mention it again. Novari Mall. Very good mall. Very good. Grade A. Is at Sangotedo. On a good day from my office, Sanjo, if I am going to drive from there, what will make me carry my leg from Lekki Phase 1 to Sangotedo? It will take me on a good day, whether it's morning against traffic or evening, it will take me over 1 hour. That's the fact. But what has infrastructure done? I just need to cross over to the coastal road in less than about 20 minutes, 15 minutes. I'm there. Now, why is it important? The Novaris and a lot of the big malls and the other plazas that set up, it was catchment areas they were looking at. Catchment areas and people that take it to like a destination. But that destination in a city like Lagos was hard because everybody is busy. So that's why the community centers, the community malls, shopping centers came up. But right now, what has infrastructure done? I can easily go to Novari. I can easily go to Aja. I can easily come to another mall or a retail, what have you, in Victoria Island. I can quickly climb the bridge. Yes, the Ikoyi-Lekki Bridge. So infrastructure. Now, I am talking about this part of Lagos. I'm not talking about the mainland. I'm not talking about the Akunwojos and the others, which have opened up also because of infrastructure. So infrastructure has opened everything up. Everything up has been opened by infrastructure. Now, let me stress this. When some of us, and with the promoters, did and were promoted Maryland Mall. Maryland Mall then, we pushed Maryland Mall and we always referred Maryland Mall to, a mall that is coming to your house. Basically, you are coming to the community. Even though it was almost like a grade A, the mindset of setting it up was that instead of you going to the bigger one, I won't mention the name, bigger one, Winikeja, let's have a community mall, even though that was a grade A. That was the essence of Maryland Mall. That was what we targeted. We targeted there's all those areas in Maryland. You don't need to go far. That's what we did. Okay? But what has happened, the spill-off of that, and COVID also, it's not a good thing to say COVID helped us, but the truth is, in adversity, at times, things do come up. People recognize that, why must I go far to buy a bread? Why must I go far to buy water? Why must I go far to get a drug? So all of a sudden, almost every street now, you have a pharmacy. You have a little plaza and all of that. So what I'm trying to say, what infrastructure has done now, infrastructure has reopened everywhere and made the whole system, you know what I mean, more dynamic, and more flexible. And it's good for investors. It's good for investors. And let's not forget something. Where residential developments go, retail goes.
Sure.
So, that whole ecosystem is awakened. So I would just say infrastructure. That's
Thank
for
you
me.
very much, sir. Thank you very much. That's a good one. Okay, I'm going to go to because there's another issue you mentioned. But before I go to that again, if you have question from the back end, I can see that there's somebody who had already raised his hand. I'm going to come back to you. But again, if you want to ask him question directly, please don't hesitate to show your hands and I bring you up so that you can ask directly. I know I can see one hand already, but again, I'm going to come back to you, then take the question. Now, Mr. Rogba, you also mentioned something. I mean, I'm very instructive when you were discussing. You spoke strongly on this issue of anchor tenants, right? You spoke, I mean, I saw in the slide anchor tenant and you emphasized a bit on it. I would like to ask also now that do you think, based on your experience and the advice that you've given over the years, do anchor tenants, do they make retail develop? Can they make or break a retail development? Now, if so, in today's Nigerian's market, who will you consider the most desirable anchor tenant and why? Because you did
Okay.
mention very well on the issue of this anchor tenant, you mentioned them, and again, we can't rule them out on when it comes to this issue of retail development. Again, these are investors bringing their money. So this issue of anchor tenants, can they make or break a retail development? And if they can, right? So in today's Nigerian's market, who will you consider the most desirable, especially for investors who are listening, or for those of us who are advising investors who want to invest in retail development?
So, Joe, the answer is yes. In fact, it won't just break you to get you out of business if you're not careful.
Mm.
Now, I'm answering that because it's a straight question you answered. But let me also not answer your question, but let me also retract so that I put this in the right perspective. Once you know, based on my answer, that the anchor tenants can wreck you, the question is that what are you meant to do? Before you set up a retail facility that you will now, as I said, focus on an anchor tenant. I'm saying this because we're all very conversant with what is happening for the past few years, spaces that certain companies took. They came to Nigeria, they were here with big noise. There was a lot of foot traffic. At the end of the day, they just say, it just comes, happens that they just say, look, they have to leave. Then all of a sudden, the person that is behind that, it's as if he has lost a baby. There was this. So anchor tenant is important, but the trick here is this. There has to be flexibility in your design. And that flexibility has to be from your design. Before you even buy the land, before you even look for the sites, you have to be able to ask yourself, who are the drivers of traffic? And the drivers are very simple. I'll give you 3 categories so it will help you. 1, groceries. You can't miss it out. Grocery supermarkets. That's number 1. Number 2, food and drink. You cannot miss food and drink. All right. And number 3, entertainment. You have to, those 3. Once you're able to play with those 3 and ensure that within those 3, they are not just in your retail facility, but they are strategically located within that facility. You have to be deliberate. Once you are able to achieve those 3, you shouldn't have a problem. The people that are crying now, and I'm sorry, I laugh. Yes, things happen. People didn't expect certain people to leave. But if there were, clear thought process put in before the drawings, you will actually know that the company that you're calling an anchor tenant, is it your father that owns it? Even your father can change his mind the next day. So you must have an option B. There must be some flexibility. Okay, you're having a big space in a grade A mall. Your anchor tenant is on close to 2,000 square meters. Have you done the design in such a way that in the event of the 2,000 leaving, you can collapse that space? It can come multiple use. Those are things that I hope people are learning. They have to learn from now. So, as I said, you can't miss groceries. You can't miss food and drink. the restaurants, you can't miss entertainment. But let me say this, Sanjo, are you there? Something that I want to, are you hearing me? Can everyone hear me? Hello?
Yes, sir, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
All right. Something that is very interesting, which I'm going to throw here. There is this feeling that when you call anchor tenant, it has to be grocery, it has to be this or that. It's totally wrong. Any retailer that is making use of a sizable size and is generating good footfall within that retail facility is your anchor tenant. I have a property I manage in Lekki Phase 1. Do you know what the anchor tenant is? They're into clothing. They're into fashion. Female fashion. They're the anchor tenants. Sanjo, are you hearing me? Sanjo? Your anchor tenant can be...
Yeah, continue, sir. You have a bit challenge with his network.
No problem, no problem. Your anchor tenant can be on the first floor, can be on the second floor. It's not defined anywhere that, oh, anchor tenant has to be on the ground floor, like how we all think. Yeah, so people have to understand that. I'll give you a very specific example. Ikeja Aviation Plaza is in Ikeja. We're the consultants for it. It's beside Computer Village. Who is the anchor tenant there? The anchor tenant is a restaurant. That restaurant brings in the major traffic in that building. And that's a huge building with multiple parking. In fact, to stress the importance of that brand, we allow that brand to put a huge sign, almost like a ShopRite sign. Most people go to the airport will know the building I'm talking about. Huge sign is there. Someone asked me once, why am I making the restaurant so big? Excuse me. They are the anchor tenants. They are taking a huge space. Beyond that, they're breaking traffic. So we have to change this perception of, number one, ground floor anchor tenants. Number two, oh, if this space leaves, we have to get a supermarket. Why must you get a supermarket? Why? Entertainment now, we have a youthful population. We have a youthful population. Can we play in that bracket? People want to go out. People want to hang out. People are not going home. A lot of the younger ones now, when they close work, they're not going home. They want to chill. From our statistic, from what we're seeing, and this is very interesting information that's happening in Europe, and even America now, the lounges are suffering internationally. Why? There's more focus now on healthy living. That's why the gyms are thriving. It's not just about, oh, it's an in-thing. It's not about an in-thing. A lot of people are now more health cautious. So you're now getting a lot of health clubs being created from the gyms. You're now getting a lot of people using their lounges, daytime raves, afternoon raves. It's happening in UK. That means early in the afternoon, you're going to have somebody as a DJ playing in a lounge, no alcohol there. People are coming together, they are chilling, they are taking food and all that stuff. People are bringing that. That is where we are going. That was happening, is already happening in Europe and America, some parts of America. So people, we have to clear our mindset. The key thing we have to understand is traffic. Pharmacy brings traffic. Typical pharmacy brings traffic. Sanjo, before I hand this over to you, one thing I want to say on this, very important, I have to say this. There's what we call quality traffic. By you just getting people coming to your plaza, that they're bringing their girlfriends, taking a picture and drinking a Coke for 1 hour, that's not quality traffic, with all due respect. So when you set up a place, for instance, say a Banana Island, give you an example, or a road to Banana Island, or inside Banana Island, and you have a plaza and all of that stuff, you'll be shocked that your anchor tenant doesn't necessarily need to be groceries. And if it's going to be groceries, you better get the topmost grocery dealers. Because if you bring a Mama Yabo supermarket in Banana Island, they will close after 3 months because nobody went there. So it's not a straightforward answer. The only thing I would say is, forget the textbook, forget all this stuff people are telling you. Just ask yourself, on a Sunday after church, where do I go to the family? What do I do? During the week, when there is go slow, where do I branch? What do I do? It's a very simple thing. Once you answer that question, where are the places, Sanjo, you go to every week without beyond your house? If you sit down with your barrel and paper and you write down, you will know who the drivers are in the retail place. That's why pharmacies are doing that everywhere. Because there will be somebody in your household that will say, I have a headache. Somebody that will say, and guess what? Very smart move the pharmacies are doing. The pharmacies now are turning to mini marts. So typical pharmacies now, you can get bread. There's nothing you cannot get now in the pharmacy. You can't get in the pharmacy now. So in a way, the pharmacy now is on its own and I got tenants. In Abuja, I know H-Medics. People that know H-Medics, that's an anchor tenant. In fact, those ones are the tenant itself. They've defined what and how retail should be. They have even passed pharmacy. They have their plazas, they have their pharmacy there, and they're bringing the other mix to come in to help their pharmacy. Very strategic. So I hope I've answered you on that.
You certainly have. Thank you very much, sir. Great response. So please, from the back end, I can see that there's a hand that is raised. And please, can you help me promote the person? So yes, he can. Please also, just hold on. I'm going to call you at the right time. But before he asks this question directly, we've got some questions also here. Let's go to the question. There are two questions here. This one is LNO Project is saying, good afternoon, sir. Where is the best place to open a restaurant in Lagos? Ikeja, to be precise, like a branch outlet from Abuja, a location that can command at least 3 million sales daily. You want to pay Mr. Rock, but this is
John, that's not the contract. That's not the contract we signed. but I will not. Yeah. Can I just throw something? Let me help him a little bit.
Yes.
A little bit. I'll just
yes, please.
Why Ikeja? He said it's outside Lagos. Why is it?
Hello, Mr. Robert. Cannot. Okay. Yeah.
I'm hearing you.
Your line break up a bit. Okay.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, better, sir. You can go ahead, sir. Yes, good now.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, sir. Yes.
So good. let me jokingly say this. Yes, let me jokingly say this, and I'm sure those that are listening will know the places I'm talking about. When I find myself in Lagos Island, there's a local place I go to. I don't go to the fancy place, and I go there religiously to eat my rice. I don't miss it. I've been doing it for over 20 years. My sister, when she comes from abroad, that's where she goes. Why? The food is good. When I go to Surulere,
we are going to get here as we rock back. I think there's a problem with the network. Oh, we can hear you. Yes. Go ahead, sir.
I don't know what happened. Okay, so when I go to Lagos Island, there's a particular place I go and eat. It's not fanciful. A lot of the restaurants there, I know the owners, but guess what? I go there and eat my food. For over 20 years, I've been doing it. The food is good. Same thing in Surulere, off Akerele. I'm sure people know the place I'm talking about. Badagry, the same thing. If I travel to Oyo now, there's a place I will go that has the best fisherman soup. I will go there and eat. My answer to this person, work on your back end first. Get your food right. Even if it's just one dish, let it be such that if Rogbani Madadi comes there, do a free week. Let people just come and eat. Once you chop that food and the food is good, you will come back. So don't be fixated about this Ikeja. Your capex is heavy. The Ikeja rent is heavy. I've just done analysis of rental. It's heavy. And that's minus taxes. It's heavy. I'm not trying to discourage anyone. The Ikeja market is a very good market. But I'm just saying, and that's all I will say here, for food, get your food right. Even if it's your moi moi, that is fantastic, get it right. Those are something that stands out. Then you can now start thinking about the numbers. Where can you get the numbers? Because trust me, the biggest local government, Alimosho, people are making money in Akonjo. Play money. You might not have the mall you want, but at the end of the day, they're smiling. Their bank account is smiling. They have the numbers. That's the largest population. Ikorodu, I have a project I'm doing in Ikorodu. I'm amazed at the people I see in the restaurants in Ikorodu. I went to a restaurant there last week, Sonjo. I was looking around. People were not even asking for price. You see the pounded jam, fish, everything. I say, So let's not get fixated at VI, Lekki, please. Money doesn't care about location.
Yeah.
But
all right.
food, because you said you are in daily food rights, then you can now do your feasibility in terms of your numbers.
Thank you very much. I mean, so if you need more advisory, we can take it a lot deeper than this, I mean, for the person who asked that question. So let's quickly take an ESV Okofu Ambrose. Can you unmute yourself and make your comment or ask your question? Then before we go to other questions, please. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much, ESV. I remain ESV Ambrose Okofu, a fellow of the institution. I want
Thank you,
to, first of all, congratulate your firm, Bosele & Co., and my big boss there. He is the Rugby Fellow of the Institution, MNI. I want to congratulate you on your thoughtful idea to share some insights on what you think should be known. I've been following though I didn't join on time, I've been following the trend. I just want, now it's like a kind of a contribution, not a question per se.
All right,
because,
go ahead.
I would have also liked you, I would have also liked you to kind of throw an insight on the danger its impact on other uses. Because a sudden push, an increase in retail drive. Originally, we know that that has not been the design of those neighborhoods. And would have also tried to put kind of throw an insight on how the process one could have followed to avoid violating the urban use plan and design, so that it should be all encompassing. Then again, I also see that you are really talked about Lagos and maybe just a portion in Abuja. As we're talking about Nigeria, I would have expected that maybe it goes the wider coverage. So my suggestion is that maybe next time we have some people to help you do some research and show to you, so that we'll have a comprehensive discussion when we're discussing, not only just talking about Lagos. Like for me now, I'm talking to you from Kaduna, the city of Kaduna. So I would have liked to know certain things also about my place here. So I want to congratulate all of us for this thoughtful idea. Congratulations, Ubosele & Co. and my boss, Roba. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, ESV Ambrose. MNI, do you want to say one or two things? I know you mentioned earlier in your presentation, so you talked about Enugu, you talked about Akwa Ibom, you talked about Abia, Dasumaya, you talked about, I noted them here, you talked about Uwere. Even in your presentation, there's something about Ilorin that you did mention as well as Uyu and all the likes. Yes, I'm sure. I quite understand your point, but again, and I did mention that, but if you want to weigh in on his comments, sir.
Okay, so the truth of the matter is this. What I try to emphasize in this presentation is looking at asset classes. And in this retail, I've paid a lot of attention on the grade A's and also the investors and the opportunities of holistically. That's what I try to do. In this kind of program that is about an hour plus, it's very hard to be able to, Sanjo, to be able to put an analysis. It's something that we can do, maybe something that Bosele and Co else can look at. And I'm sure their market report is fantastic. They actually capture a lot regarding the various states and all of that. But it's something that we can do. But I'll just help you and throw a bit of light on Kaduna. Just a bit of light there. Kaduna is a fantastic place. I was years ago, not even now. There's a mall that we're able to do it with the state government. And that made me even stay some time in Kaduna for about a week or two to do some feasibility and all of that. Whether it's Southern Kaduna and all that, there's Sanjo, you know what they call old money. There's old money in that place.
Very well.
There's old money in that place, and that for me, I call it the headquarters of Northern Nigeria. A lot of people don't know that's actually the headquarters, But in Kaduna, the fact is this, and I'm going to say this: perception is very important, especially when it comes to investors that are now gradually coming back to invest in Nigeria. Am I saying that Kaduna is not a good place to invest? I'm not saying it's not. But I can tell you this, call 10 to 20 of the biggest consultants in the world. Let the international players say, mention 3 to 4 places that we can carry $25 to $50 million now to put a grade, all of that. I can assure you this, Kaduna might be the last place they will mention, not because it's not good, but it's investor appetite risk. And it's not even about the fact that it is that dangerous. It's just, unfortunately, news is out there, and they will focus on areas that they feel their investment is a bit safer. That's the honest truth, But there's still great opportunity in Kaduna and all the areas, especially when it comes to the plazas. You don't need to build a big mall. I've already said it. There is huge opportunity in a lot of those areas. Where you see residential, there is some retail element around there. And I will challenge people on something. Even, yes, retail is coming up. Now, layouts. If you check the original layout of a lot of the government schemes, there's allocation for mixed use. There is some level of allocation for mixed use. A lot of estates, there are places that they will tell you that, oh, this place is meant for a mini mart and things like that. That's retail. So those are the areas and things that I think opportunities that people should look at in those areas. Yeah. But Kaduna is a place that I love. Oh, I love. It's a very good place. And, it's a place that I think a lot of people should look at. It's just investor appetite now internationally. Focus more. As of now, it's Lagos. It's still Lagos and Abuja. And hopefully, as things come better and there's more, we get better press, I'm sure it will spread more in other parts of the north.
Very true. Thank you very much, Emena. Thank you for that. That was well captured. And I think from the back end, if you drop you mentioned earlier our real estate report, which also captured a lot of things across the 36 states of the Federation and the FCT. So if you drop your email address, I'm going to ensure that from the back end, everybody who is on this call will get the electronic copy of our current real estate report. So you can also, that will help a great deal to see other dimension and other aspects. So we have, as we begin to wind up, there are other 4 questions here, and I think we should answer those 4 questions so as we begin to wrap up this webinar. So Mr. Abioye is asking you, sir, he said, everyone talks about e-commerce. Do retail property owners be worried?
Let me answer straight. They should not be worried.
Good.
They should not be worried. We have a long way to go. Just understand this. The retail centers you have now are the centers that you take your kids to. There are no parks. There are no greens. So just take it from that angle. Forget every other thing. So retail property is going to be here for a long time. Technology impact, of course, there is an impact already. From your home, you can just call, and they will deliver anything for you. Yeah. But you have to go out. Your kids, if you don't take your kids out, your kids will bring the TV and everything in your house. So you will still go out. So that I will just leave it there. So it had a bit more impact abroad in America, especially after COVID. Okay. A lot of malls closed down, all of that. If you do your research now, you will see that a lot of the malls are coming back. They're coming back. It's just that they're coming back with a different coloration. It's not the typical supermarket and all of that, as I said. It's all about experiential. It's all about, making it interesting. That's where we're going now in retail. People want to go out. People want to go to places. Yeah.
Thank you very much. So let's take, I think one more. I think there are 2 more or so. two more questions. So begin to. So an anonymous attendee is asking, some people say Nigeria doesn't have enough quality retail space. Others say we have too much. Which side are you on, sir? Which side are you on? Did you get that question?
There's no side. We are as we are talking about the country being under hoteled. Let me say that we are under. I don't know the term to use. You see, under mold. So we don't have enough. We don't have enough. But let me stress this here: the focus shouldn't be about the size. Shouldn't be about the size. That should not be the focus. The focus should be about local communities having retail centers. Because even abroad, it's not everywhere that you see big malls springing up everywhere. No. So yeah. So we don't have enough. We still don't have enough. And more are coming, by the way. Just keep the local players are stepping up, Sanjo. The local boys are stepping up. Well, we should be proud of them. They're stepping up.
Good. All right, thank you. So 3 more questions. ESV Jacoby is asking, he said, thank you for this wonderful opportunity, sir, and the team of Bosele & Co. He said, hence, looking at a rental trend in residential and that of commercial rental trends, how flexible can commercial rate of malls accommodate economic downtime in case of sales pressures from retailers? How can you manage low sales pressure and keep your good tenants in a way that it won't affect the major stakeholder? M&I, did you get that question? A bit long, but did you get the question? Hello, sir. Oh, I think the network.
Let me apologize. Let me apologize. Where I am, it's raining. It's raining.
Yeah, I know. The network can
be... I think it's affecting the network.
Yeah, same here. It's fine. We understand this,
but
this thing. Did you get the question?
I didn't get the question. No, I didn't.
Okay, I'll read again. It talks about looking at rental trend in residential and that of commercial rental trends. How flexible can commercial rate of malls accommodate economic downtime in case of sales pressure from retailers? How can you manage low sales pressure and keep your good tenants in a way that it won't affect the major stakeholders? Did you get that, sir?
I got it.
Yeah.
That's a very good question. What I would say is this. First things first, identify who are your biggest pullers in traffic. When you identify them, now go into their books. Let them be open enough to open their books to you. Once you sense that based on the economic realities, they're struggling, but you know the importance of them, there's nothing wrong in you having a sharing formula. And it could be a quarterly review instead of collecting a rent. So what you have done there, you haven't sacrificed rental income in a way, but you have still maintained them there. You have showed them that it's a symbiotic relationship, that you are in it together. So you have not lost anything. So instead of you getting a rent of a year, you are getting shared revenue on a monthly. That's the way to go. And that's what I expect any retailer that's having struggles. Identify who are the traffic pullers. So that's my own suggestion. Once you do that, you will balance it on both sides. And most times, these things are all seasonal. They're seasonal.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so LNO Project is coming back to say thank you for your response. He was saying I will reach out personally if possible. The restaurant already is doing well in Abijo with good quality food. The idea is open to a Lagos. Okay, Abuja. Okay, talking about we do well in Abuja. We did quality food. The idea is to open a Lagos branch, and we want a location that will stand out and unique, sir. And it has to be central. Okay, so you can reach out, like you said. I mean, he's just thanking you for that response and maybe saying a bit about the restaurant itself. I think 2 more questions here. The questions are just coming up. Chibuzo Ihamugba is asking, what qualifies one to be called an anchor tenant? M&I.
I don't like using textbook language here because it's easy for people to relate. Just take it. There are two things you have to note. Just note two things. One is your space, dominant space being used by a particular tenant. Second is the traffic that tenant is generating. Just note those two things. Yes.
Interesting. Very, very.
But usually the dominant tenant, how much space that person is using among the GLA in the facility and how much traffic that's bringing in. For instance, let me give you an example. A furniture might be making use of the biggest space in a plaza. A lot of people don't know this. Furniture business doesn't bring traffic. Doesn't bring traffic. And I know some people would say, what do you mean? Go in front of any furniture shop in any mall or anywhere. Sit down there, get a newspaper, get a drink, cross your leg, look at the door. It doesn't bring traffic. But a lot of people don't know that there are a lot of plazas anchor tenants. But is that really an anchor tenant? Just by virtue of the fact that it's making use of a big space. A smaller space might be generating tons and tons of traffic. But can you still call that tenants, smaller space and anchor tenants? You know, so typically the furniture shop is an anchor tenant. It's making use of majority of your space. But the point is how much traffic that anchor tenant bringing.
Thank you very much.
So before you define somebody an anchor tenant, I'm not. Yeah. So before you define someone an anchor tenant, I'm more interested in you define it the way you want to define it, which is having someone that takes a sizable space that will not just take the space, but will bring good traffic. Because that's the end result.
Very true. Very true, sir. Thank you very much. One more question, and we'll begin to wrap it up. This is also an anonymous attendee. He says, attendee, good afternoon, sir. What can you say about the Apapa commercial retail properties market? Is it good to say it is drowning down or coming up back? Apapa commercial retail properties. What's your take on it based on this questionnaire?
So, Joe, what I'm going to say now is going to get a lot of calls after this. Better take position in Apapa. People should take position in Apapa quickly. A lot of people don't know that there's no traffic there anymore. A lot of people don't know that the rental rate is appreciating a bit more now. A lot of people don't know that the government has already released money that are going to totally transform the port, the what do you call it, the ports.
Yeah.
So what happens when the port is transformed to a first-class automated port? Are you waiting for that? Take position. I will say it again. Take position. You don't need to do a grade A. You don't need to do a monstrosity of a mall. You don't need to. But take position, especially now that the market, this thing I'm telling you, a lot of people don't know. Sanjo, do you know that? I'm sure you know that traffic, that the place is no more, you know? So take position, my friend, whoever asks that question.
All right.
Advice.
As we begin to wrap up, sir, I want to ask you one question directly from my end. And this question is, if you are going to advise a first-time investor with, say, 500 to 1 billion naira to deploy into the commercial retail property in Nigeria today, what will you be telling them? That's the final question for me to you.
1 billion naira or $1 billion?
1 billion naira. I mean, the first-time investor. We're talking about first-time investor. I want to play here in this segment.
What should I be telling them?
Yes. What will you tell them?
What would I be telling them?
Yes.
Okay. I will tell them, first of all, that the Lagos, and again, I'm going to be attacked by some people that are outside Lagos, but you asked me a set question. I'll tell them that the retail market has so much opportunity. I'll be able to tell them that, look, you should do two things. One, there are opportunities in JV for retail that you can partner with a JV partner and do a mall style development and sell shops. and spread your opportunities, taking positions in one or two other areas in Lagos, and do community shopping centers with the right mix, and proper feasibility based on the catchment area in those areas. You still have change that you'll be able to put in your treasury bills. 500 million, 600 can achieve that.
Wow. What a way to wrap up. Thank you so very much. A lot of comments here. People are saying, thank you so very much. ESB Rock, by a lot of colleagues here. I can read from the text messages here. People are saying, thank you. And honestly, we cannot thank you enough. Emma, we cannot thank you enough. Thank you for, we calling you and finding time to do this with us. We are really, really honored to have you. And it's been a wonderful time. I want to thank you very much, ESB Orimolade, for sharing your knowledge and experience with us today. Your insights, no doubt, have provided valuable perspective with regards to the opportunities, the challenges in Nigerian retail property market. You've done very well, and I want to assure all our listeners, if you just drop in your email addresses, two things I promise you today. I'm going to ensure that the slides of ESB Orimolade is sent to you, and also our real estate report for the year 2026. I'm going to get from the back end. If you drop your email addresses, you'll get them. You can be sure you are going to get them between today and tomorrow. You are going to get all of this. To everyone who joined us, thank you so much for your participation and engagement. We trust that this discussion had actually helped in a way or the other. For those who asked questions, for those who made contributions, we appreciate you greatly. I want to say very, very big thank you to you. You can be sure we're going to be coming back next month with another edition of Real Estate Webinar Series. And I can assure you, just like we usually do every month, this will be an eye-opener for us, for those of us, and we've brought in an expert who have done extremely well in trying to make us understand the trends, the market, the opportunities, and the challenges. So stay tuned with us. You can reach out to us at any time. Go to our website, Ubosele & Co. Just go there, get a lot of information that you need to get. This webinar is also recorded. You can ask for the recording. We're going to send it to you. I can see a lot of people asking questions, sending in their email addresses and all that. It will be taken care of, you can be sure. Once again, and I thank you so very much for doing this for us. We're grateful on behalf of the principal partners and every one of us want to say a big thank you. We'll come back calling, sir. We will definitely come back calling. There's still a lot to be discussed, and you can be sure we'll always reach out.
John, can I chip in this?
Yes, you can, sir. You can.
Okay, just to your viewers and yourself, the first of its kind book is coming up in the next 2 months. Commercial retail property in Nigeria.
Yes.
So that one is going to be explosive. So don't worry.
Yes,
that's coming up.
Exactly.
It will capture.
I remember. Yes.
Practical and So
thank you. We'll be looking forward to this, and this will now even give us the opportunity to, when the book is out, it will give us an opportunity to even go a lot more deeper into this discussion. Yes, I read it. I saw that is also in the works, and we'll be looking forward to that. Thank you so very much once again. Do enjoy the rest of your day, ESB Orimolade, and for everyone who attended. Once again, God bless you. And the webinar comes to an end right now. I will look forward to seeing you in the month of July with another episode. God bless you and stay blessed. Thank you.